Hey, just short video because timing is going to be a little bit difficult as always, and I just want to get the message across. And a message in text never represents enough what you're trying to say. Okay, basically, look, key points. Let me zoom in a little bit before I don't want too much information here. I think this is the key points that we're trying to evaluate right here. Okay, does Mark have the capabilities for revenue gen and funding generation? I think in terms of, I put here in status ready, okay, just because I assume that I've done it before and I've done it for bigger scale, smaller, it's there, okay, but fine to evaluate Jess's capabilities as CPO in her product vision. I'm very convinced, okay, I don't think I need to see too much more, but obviously that's a thing. And why is technical capabilities? And I'm taking your assumption here of, hey, he's ready. He's ready to go all the way. Experience and skills to deliver, not now, but 4, 5, 6 years. It means very different capabilities. What is necessary early on is not what's necessary later. Okay, but it's good to have that range. Then the thing that I'm sure you want to evaluate, as most CEOs would want, or most founders, is March grit to go all the way. Can he actually fight? Because obviously at the beginning it's tough, the problems are different. At the beginning it's much tougher because you have to do a lot of your own stuff. And afterwards, you actually need to scale, need to delegate with a lot of people, need to be more of an organizer. I think the capabilities of an organizer, there's no doubt, is Mark going to actually stay the way. Okay, I understand that's why a month was a better evaluation, but I'll tell you why it's a little bit hard to a full month straight. That's a little bit too complicated right now. Just as a CEO, I think this is very important. We need to evaluate, or I need to evaluate. You're going to be my boss for 4, 5, 6, 7 years, well, however long it takes. And the decisions as a CEO are much more focused on money, on funding, on making very strategic decisions of firing people, hiring people, shares that are given, not given, and people that have to be included. So these are very different decisions than a CPO or a revenue generator. And that's very important that we kind of find that gel there. Then another gel, I think, is the working dynamic. YS, you and me, okay, and the team, obviously, how well do we solve conflict? There has to be conflict constantly. There has to be some idea that goes against another or that we need to prioritize. How do we solve for that? And we might realize that we don't. Then, in terms of that, this is a schedule, okay, proposal. Doesn't really matter. The idea is always to follow your own planning, okay? Priorities, whatever meetings you have already, whatever planning you had in terms of meeting clients, investors, or discussing development with the team, I'll be part of that. But the key thing is to make sure we cover product, revenue, and funding. Okay. And ideally come out of here with some form of evaluation and of what we want to change. Okay. And this is why I'm putting here in the schedule the idea of 3 check-ins. This is more of here checking in. Hey, are we doing well? What do we think are the gaps or blah, blah. I think we need to be brutally honest. And then also checking in terms of saying, hey, do I understand the roadmap or is there a big challenge? But I would really focus on this because this is what we want to evaluate. And then here I'm focused a lot on understanding the roadmap and then linking to growth plan and operational review. Why? Because that's key. The product and the growth plan need to be linked. And then that will also link to investor. The investors are like, okay, you have a great roadmap, but you're not delivering on the growth plan, or the growth plan is delivering, but the product is a very basic product that can't scale. And that's all going to be linked. And ideally, we can review. When I say here review plan, it's kind of look at, hey, does the roadmap make sense versus the funding and versus the growth plan? Okay. And just come out with this. Okay. This is a little bit what I think would make sense. Focusing on those areas. Please tell me if that makes sense. Saying, yeah. Okay, this is what I wanted to evaluate, or no, I want to add this other thing. I think it's very important that you and I know before and YS knows before anything happens that, hey, this is what we want to evaluate, and this is what, because then we can know. There can be a moment where there's a clear trigger saying, I don't know, I'm joking, but imagine I make a joke that is completely no one laughs, and you maybe like, oh my God, this guy is never going to engage with the team. I'm joking, and it will work. I've cracked really uncrackable engineers. I had this guy way who was who didn't appreciate my jokes in the beginning. By the end, maybe because I was his boss, but he was laughing at everything. Then I think that's key because that will help us really say like, well, it doesn't matter how great this plan Mark made, but he's not gelling. I mean, he tries to impose his decision, which is not my style, but you never know. Okay. Or maybe he's not forceful enough and he's not going to actually drive revenue because he's not telling us what he really needs to do. Doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Tell me if this makes sense. On the 2 week scheduling, I think that's very related to the fact that I need to be back to take care of my daughter. Okay, my wife is flying out for a last minute business trip, and I need to be here. So that's first. And second, let's be real, a whole month on a full chunk. It's quite a bit of time and money, okay, in terms of that. So that's why I'm saying, hey, let's do 2 weeks. Should be enough to evaluate. And then if we want, both of us, I understand the idea is 1 month. You want it to be able to test. But let's be, we need to adjust sometimes to the cost structure that this means, the opportunity cost, the implications that this have. And I think 2 weeks is a very good run, and then it's relatively efficient. I still need to find a place, okay? And because hotels are insanely expensive, but don't worry, we'll make it work. Okay, hope this works. Tell me if yes or not. You can text me, you can call me, whatever you want. I just want to make it a little bit more agile this way. Okay, bye.